All right, everyone. With regards to the tabloid news of the day, we got Trump, we got Korea, and crazy shit with Brett Kavanaugh. I figured I would weigh in on the Sargon of Akkad, Jim, Mr. Metokur stuff, because a lot of people kept messaging me and talking. Oh, when are you going to talk about this? When are you going to refer to it? I've already talked about the concept, which is, over a year ago I said it's unhelpful when content creators aim their fire at one another. And I'm not just talking that criticizing one another's views on some issue. Like, hey, your view of Obama's wrong. Here's why. Oh, well, you're just a Trumpite or something. Okay, that's fine. That's normal political debate. When you get below that to personal insults and attacks between creators who otherwise are all on the same side, I don't think that that's helpful. I've used the analogy that it's like ignoring the fact that a bear is stalking you because there are some mosquitoes around your head, and so you're swatting at them, you're totally ignoring the bear, you're taking no steps to get away from it or fight it or whatever, and so you get eaten, basically. The creator community is like that person at times, and I think it's highly regrettable. This goes beyond the normal, the wrestling style blood sports. It goes beyond normal political debate. What we've got here is a situation. I'm not even going to look deeply within what's actually being said, because I like Sargon and I like Metokur. I like both of these people. I subscribe to them both. They're both in the same boat, and that's the whole fucking point. I think both been kicked off Twitter. They've constantly got people trying to deplatform and defame them, and yet they're too busy attacking one another to address that issue. This is how the creator community gets fucked, and it gets fucked more than just, hey, Sargon got banned because he was too busy talking about Metokur to defend himself against some fourth waivers or something. Oh, Metokur got banned because he was talking about Sargon, and meanwhile people used it as an excuse to flag him for bullying or something. It goes well beyond that. It affects us all. We're all part of a symbiosis. We're all in competition. If you cover politics, current events, tech news, sort of the censorship and globalism side, you talk about, anything like that, even the weird side of YouTube to an extent, like the paranormal sort of pseudoscience, a lot of the channels that deal with religion, in certain cases also cover politics and current events. There's a whole group of tens of thousands of major content creators. Every single one of us is affected when any single other person is not part of the active fight against censorship. The biggest fight that we have right now as content creators is that we've got multi-billion-dollar multinational networks, multiple national governments, post-national authorities, and NGOs all working together to fuck us in the ass. Well, then why are you what does the interpersonal stuff have to do? You're insulting each other and stuff. And I think beyond that, it gets worse. Because then the fans get involved and they're like, oh, well, Sargon the hack, oh, Metokur the liar. It's like, what are you doing? It's a little bit beyond blood sports now, isn't it? It's like, crowd participation or something. I understand that sometimes people, they get hot under the collar or whatever, but it's not helpful. It's like, JF and Worski feuding or something. It's not helpful to any of us. What's going to happen now is that Holt and all of his ilk are going to write hit pieces on you and say, oh, well, look, all the Nazis are unhinged and attacking one another, and you'll know that it's false. I'll know that it's false. People on YouTube will know that it's false. What about people beyond that? Sargon saying he wants to run for office. Will this sort of material not be used against you? It doesn't matter if it's just on YouTube. It will get extrapolated to the real world. He was pointing out on his stream, I think, how, he fully expected to be asked about mundane map by a reporter if he was running for office. Well, it'll be beyond that. You've already been billed as a dangerous far-right individual. I know that's not true, but they're going to be asking you about everything you've ever done on YouTube. The public personas online, really, it's a funny thing. The same sort of public exposure that can get you to the point where you've got enough of a crowd of people to fund and have an early start in a political race also means there's potentially a lot of baggage that the corporate media can exploit. That's why we need to start our own pan-creator sort of political movement. It needs to go beyond just we make videos or we make blogs or something. It needs to be far more beyond that. It needs to tie in with all tech. The corporate media, the NGOs, and the political structure have formed a confederation. They're all colluding together to try to screw online free speech and to prevent this uprising of the little person, the working class, essentially, oddly enough, to enforce limited government and to keep the internet free and open. They hate the idea. We need to confederate among ourselves with alt tech, alt crowdfunding, and essentially restructure, over time, a new internet. We need to take over large enough proportions of the internet to safeguard ourselves from all forms of censorship, to make it impossible to take us down. It ties into the blockchain concept, to cryptocurrency and everything. And then Jim comes out and he's saying, well, you know, I'm being serious here and Sargon's off the wall. And it's like, yes, but he's sitting there insulting him. That doesn't, and I know, you know, maybe Jim's crowd is more given into that, like, you know, Jim. A lot of his videos are about criticizing people. I just don't know how it's helpful, though. It doesn't, what you two are doing, and I didn't want to even have to make a video about this because I'm a neutral party, liking both of you and your content, frequently watching it and getting a good chuckle out of much of it. I didn't even want to weigh in, but I've got a bunch of my fans. Here's how much it metastasizes to Sargon and Metokur. I would say this. Here's how far it goes. I've got a bunch of my fans telling me I need to take a side or weigh in, or saying, oh, did you hear the rumor about Jim? Did you hear the rumor about Carl? I'm like, no, I haven't, because I don't pay attention to it, but I've got enough people talking about it that I have to weigh in. The only way I can do that is to say, hey, probably not the greatest time. The wolf is at the door. We're being surrounded by enemies on all sides. They have a hell of a lot more money than we do. They do have the normies behind them. They think that we're all bigots and extremists. They're trying to shut us down, and you're giving them cheap ammunition when you sit there and insult one another and look, you know, unhinged, to tell the truth. Like, you know, it's, I don't understand it. It's not helping. Then you get shills involved, and they purposely try to get you to antagonize one another because they realize that exactly what I'm saying, which is that as long as you're focusing your fire on one another, you're not focusing your fire on the man, the establishment, Big Brother, Uncle Sam, whatever. Or you know, in Sargon's case, the UK's government, which is even more dystopian. Doesn't matter if you disagree with one another. I don't know. I don't even know the entire backstory of what set this off. And I'm sure if I asked a group of Metokur's fans or Sargon's fans, I'd get two different stories. If I ask Sargon's fans, yeah, Jim was starting shit again. If I ask a bunch of Metokur fans, oh yeah, Sargon was starting shit again. It's the he said, she said thing. The E-drama is unhelpful. Under normal circumstances, let's say this was 2014 YouTube. Let's say that everything was peachy keen, people aren't being deplatformed, there's no adpocalypse, but the bad days of DMCA shit are gone. The golden age of YouTube, roughly again, 2013 to the middle of 2016. Glorious golden age of YouTube. Everything's, there's no buffering problem. There's no copyright issue. People are allowed to, you know, get hot under the collar and insult one another without getting kicked off. Craftivism hasn't really been developed yet. Raiding parties of trolls and doxers are ineffective because YouTube assumes anyone who has an audience large enough to probably be subject to such things is innocent until proven guilty. It was so great for so many years. Let's say it was back then. Now, this probably wouldn't matter. It would just be an interesting spectacle. That's not the way YouTube operates anymore. It's beyond YouTube. It's on every other site too. That's the whole point. Meanwhile, I think people who are wise are spending as much time and effort as possible into branching out onto platforms that aren't controlled by the big wigs in Silicon Valley. Sites like Gab. I think both of you have Gab accounts and so forth. By the way, you should branch out even further. I don't know. Do either of you have a Steemit? You definitely should. They're having problems with their blockchain at the moment, but I'm sure they'll fix them. No, I will not take a side to the literally dozens of people asking me this. I don't know enough about the backstory, number one. I don't have enough time to learn about the backstory, number two. Number three, we've got bigger fish to fry right now. We're being mass censored by millions and millions of dollars of defamation funds coming through the entire corporate media. And by the way, as far as being part of a community, like you mentioned, skeptic community or alt-light or something, I'm not part of any community other than two things. I'm a content creator, used to be YouTuber, now just content creator. That's a block of many, many tens of thousands of larger creators and hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of smaller creators, people who make content. It's especially with regards to politics, news, and stuff like that. Number two, I'm part of the Styx Hexenhammer community of my fans, and I wouldn't talk about it if it weren't for the fact that so many of them want me to talk about it. And by the way, you're losing, I think both of you appear to be slightly losing track of what it means to be a creator. Your loyalty is to your fans. So why focus on other creators and stuff? Just make your content that you're known for, that you're popular for. You're both popular. You've got large audiences. Why? Why would you? Why would you want to expose yourself to problems and e-drama when you could keep doing what you're doing? Is clearly working. Your channels are both growing quickly. Keep doing it. It's interesting content. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna sit there saying, "Well, Sargon had a dust up with Metokur. I've got to take a side and never watch the other person's content again." No, it's not gonna happen, dude. You should both clank spoons in celebration of your newfound neutrality, and you should extend a hand to one another and shake each other. Don't do this, seriously. To have two major commentators on YouTube, and I know you've got other platforms you can do stuff on too, primarily well known for YouTubing, for the most part. That's both of you. It's not helpful. You should, no, come on. It's not going to bring more stability to the creator community. It's not going to help with the fact that you're both hated by literally billion-dollar corporations, right? They know who you are. They want to kick you off at all random times. All you do is, it's basically like trying to navigate a fucking landmine these days, making YouTube videos at all. I have this problem too. Not helpful. That's about all. Peace out.